All right, picture this. You're gearing up for an interview that could put you in charge, leading a team where you need to be strategic, think on your feet, and, inspire your team when things get tough. That's the life of an Army captain. And on this deep dive, we're like your tactical advisors, right? Helping you prep. We're using RoleCatcher, this platform packed with career guidance and AI tools to really break down what it takes to ace that Army captain interview.
It's interesting, the Army captain role. It's not just about barking orders out on the battlefield. It's a lot more than that. You're overseeing big units, deep diving into strategy, making sure all the equipment's running smoothly, and of course, leading your team when things get intense, sometimes under extreme pressure.
Yeah, so you need a very specific skill set to succeed in a role like this.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher's career guide, it really hits on some key things. Leadership, obviously, strategic thinking, problem solving in the moment, making split-second decisions, communication that's clear as day, and organizational skills that would impress a drill sergeant.
Okay, so let's talk about how you actually demonstrate all of that in an interview setting.
Let's get tactical. We'll break down some common questions they might throw at you, starting with, can you tell us about your military background? I mean, you're almost guaranteed to hear that one.
Right, it's like setting the stage.
Exactly. So instead of just listing off facts and figures, use this as a chance to spotlight those leadership roles you've held and the skills you've sharpened along the way. You could say something like, I served in the Army's 10th Mountain Division, deployed twice to Afghanistan, where I led a squad of 12 soldiers.
Right, so it's factual, but it hints at your experience leading others.
Exactly. And then you can transition smoothly to those skills you developed. This experience really honed my leadership, communication, and decision-making skills under pressure. Emphasizing those qualities that are super important for a captain.
Yeah, and I bet they'll probably ask a follow-up question too. Something like, what was the most challenging part of leading a squad during those deployments?
Absolutely. That's their chance to dig deeper and see how you handle those curveballs.
Okay, let's shift gears to a question that's all about pressure. How do you handle stressful situations?
This is where a good story from your time in the military can really make you shine. But remember, it's not about bragging. It's about picking a situation that shows you staying calm, thinking fast, and making good decisions when things are chaotic.
So give me an example. What kind of story would really knock their socks off?
Put yourself in the interviewer's shoes for a second. Would you be more impressed by someone who says, I get stressed easily, but I try to stay organized? Or someone who tells a story like this? We were on a mission in Afghanistan, and our unit came under heavy fire. I immediately assessed the situation, got instructions out to my team, and coordinated a successful counterattack, all while staying calm and focused.
That second one, that's way more powerful.
Right. It's not just saying you can handle stress, it's proving it.
And that's what makes a story like that so effective.
Exactly. It's like showing them your skills in action, not just telling them.
It makes sense to spend some time thinking back on your experiences and finding those moments that really highlight your strengths.
Absolutely. And you know what? RoleCatcher actually has an AI tool that can help you analyze your stories. It can see if you're really getting those key skills across.
Oh, wow. So it's like having an AI coach in your corner.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about teamwork. How would you answer the question, how do you motivate and lead a team?
This is your opportunity to show off your leadership style, how you bring out the best in your team. But again, don't be vague. Think about a time when you inspired your team to overcome a challenge. What were your communication strategies? How did you set goals and provide support?
Right, so instead of just saying, I lead by example, you want to give them something more concrete.
Right, something like, during a tough training exercise, morale was really low. So I implemented a buddy system for support, focused on achievable daily goals, and made sure to celebrate even those small wins. This shows you took action, and that action had a direct impact on your team's performance and their morale.
It also shows that you get how important it is to build that camaraderie.
Exactly.
Especially in high-pressure situations. They might even ask, what was the biggest obstacle you faced as a leader during that training? And how did you overcome it?
There you go. Another chance to showcase your problem-solving abilities and your resilience. Traits that are crucial for an Army captain. Remember, it's not about having all the answers right away. It's about showing them you can think things through and learn from your experiences.
All right, let's tackle a question that's relevant to almost any job. But even more so for an Army captain who's juggling a ton of responsibilities. How do you prioritize and manage your workload?
It's easy to just list off organizational skills, but instead, think of a time when you really nailed it managing a heavy workload. Maybe even a time when some unexpected challenges popped up. Did you delegate effectively? What time management strategies did you use?
So instead of saying, I'm organized, you could say,
You could say something like, as a platoon leader, I was managing daily operations, training schedules, equipment maintenance. I used a project management system to keep my tasks prioritized, delegated responsibilities to team members who could handle it, and I made sure we hit every deadline. This shows them you're proactive about organization, which is key in a fast-paced environment like the military.
and what if they ask you to describe a specific instance where you had to reprioritize tasks because of unforeseen circumstances? How did you adapt?
Now you're talking. That's where you can really show off your flexibility, your ability to think on your feet, which are essential traits for an Army captain. Pick an example that highlights your ability to adjust to change and still get the job done.
Okay, let's move on to a question that's crucial for any leader, but especially in high-pressure environments. How do you handle conflicts within your team? This one's all about navigating those tricky interpersonal challenges.
Right, and it's about showing them that you can not only manage conflict, but resolve it in a way that benefits everyone. So pick an example where you successfully navigated a team conflict and highlight your approach. Did you listen to everyone's perspective? How did you guide the team towards a solution where everyone wins?
So instead of just saying, I'm a good mediator, you could.
You could say, two of my team members were butting heads over the best way to approach a mission. So I facilitated a discussion, encouraged open communication, and helped them find a compromise that incorporated both of their perspectives. Ultimately, this led to a stronger plan. See, that shows you can foster collaboration and find solutions that work for the whole team.
That's a great example. And I bet they might follow up with something like, what were the individual perspectives in that situation? And how did you specifically address each one?
Exactly. That gives you a chance to go deeper and show them you can understand different viewpoints and find common ground, even when those viewpoints seem totally opposite at first.
Okay, now for a question that really gets to the heart of military life. How do you adapt to change? Because in the military, flexibility is essential.
Absolutely. And instead of just saying you're adaptable, choose an experience where you not only survived change, but thrived in it. Show them how you learned quickly, stayed positive, and embraced the unknown.
Okay, so a good example would be,
Let's say you got reassigned to a new base with totally different procedures. Instead of saying, I adapted quickly, you could say, when my unit was reassigned, I learned the new systems fast, adjusted my leadership style, and made sure the transition was smooth for my whole team. This shows them you're proactive about change and that you can lead others through those transitions effectively.
and if they follow up with, what was the most challenging part of adapting to that new environment, and how did you overcome it?
Another chance to highlight those problem-solving skills and your resilience. Remember, these follow-up questions, they're opportunities to give them more context and show off your strengths.
All right, let's dive into a high-stakes scenario. Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision? This is where they really want to see your judgment under pressure.
Right. It's not enough to just say, I make tough decisions. You need to show them your process.
Exactly.
Pick a decision that had big consequences and walk them through your approach. Did you gather all the information you needed? Did you consider the risks and different viewpoints?
For example, you could say,
Let's say during a mission, you ran into unexpected enemy activity. You could say, we were on a mission and we encountered unexpected enemy activity. I gathered intel reports, assessed the risks, and made the difficult decision to change our route. I prioritized the safety of my team over the original objective.
that shows you're committed to your team's safety and that you can make tough calls based on a thorough assessment of this situation. What kind of follow-up question do you think they might ask for a response like that?
Maybe something like, looking back, would you have done anything differently in that situation? This is your chance to show them that you can reflect on your experiences, learn from them, and maybe even highlight any improvements you've made to your decision-making process since then.
Okay, we're really getting into that strategic mindset now. Let's tackle this question. How do you develop and implement strategies to achieve goals?
This is all about showing them you can plan effectively and then execute those plans. Think about a situation where you didn't just come up with a successful strategy, but you saw it through the finish line. What were your objectives? How did you measure your progress? What were the key milestones?
So instead of saying, I'm a strategic thinker, you could.
You could say something like, to improve our unit's physical fitness scores, I analyzed our current performance, set specific training goals, developed a tailored workout program, and tracked our progress. This resulted in a significant improvement in overall fitness. That shows you can take a strategic approach, break a big goal down into manageable steps, and monitor progress effectively.
And they might even ask, what were some unforeseen challenges you faced during that initiative? And how did you adjust your strategy to address them?
Right, another chance to show off your adaptability and your problem-solving skills. Even the best plans sometimes need adjustments, and your ability to navigate those challenges shows them what you're capable of as a leader.
Okay, last question for this section, and it's one that every leader has to deal with at some point. How do you handle difficult team members or subordinates?
Here's the thing. It's not about avoiding difficult people or complaining about them. It's about showing that you can address performance issues professionally and still foster a positive environment. Think about a time you had to manage a challenging team member. What specific steps did you take? Did you provide clear expectations and support?
So instead of saying, I try to avoid conflict, you could say,
I had a team member who was constantly late and unprepared. I addressed the issue directly, made sure they understood the expectations, provided support, and even offered them additional training opportunities. This led to better performance and a more cohesive team environment. That shows you're proactive about addressing problems and that you care about the development of your team members.
And what if they ask, what specific feedback did you provide to that team member? And how did you tailor your approach to their individual needs?
Great question. This is your chance to showcase your communication skills and your ability to adapt your leadership style to different people. Every team member is unique, and effective leaders know that and adjust their approach accordingly.
These questions are really giving me a better understanding of what it takes to be an Army captain. It's about so much more than just giving orders.
You got it. It's a multifaceted role that needs a unique blend of leadership, strategic thinking, and the ability to adapt to constantly changing situations. You got to be on your toes. It's a lot to think about, right? All those interview questions really highlight the core skills you need to be an effective Army captain. But then the question becomes, how do you actually get ready to showcase those skills?
That's where I think RoleCatcher really comes in. They're AI tools. They're like a secret weapon, not just for interview prep, but for your entire military career.
And what's great is RoleCatcher goes beyond just, generic advice. It actually uses AI to dive into specific job descriptions for Army captain roles, figure out the exact skills and keywords employers are looking for, and then it helps you tailor your resume and interview answers to really hit those targets.
So it's not just about saying you have leadership skills. It's about showing them the specific types of leadership that are relevant to that exact role.
You got it. For example, if a job description is all about strategic planning and team motivation, RoleCatcher's AI will actually suggest ways to work those keywords into your answers. And it will even give you concrete examples that demonstrate those skills.
Wow, it's like having a personal resume writer and interview coach all in one.
Yeah.
Curious about the career planning side of things. What else can this AI do?
Well, there's this cool feature called Career Compass. It uses AI to analyze your skills, your experience, and what you want to achieve in your career. Then it suggests potential career paths within the Army and highlights the skills you need to develop to really excel in those roles.
So let's say someone's thinking about moving up from platoon leader to company commander. RoleCatcher can help them figure out which skills they should be focusing on.
Exactly. It might point out specific certifications, training programs, or even volunteer experiences that would make their profile stronger for that target role.
It's like taking all the guesswork out of career planning. You can really focus your efforts on the areas that will make the biggest difference. And remember those sample interview questions we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze your answers. You can type them out or even record a video, and it gives you personalized feedback.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's not just about checking boxes. It's about making sure your answers are clear, concise, and really showcasing your abilities.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual coach who can pinpoint areas where you can improve your communication and make sure your answers are really hitting the mark.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the skills and how to show them off in an interview. But what about the real-world challenges someone in this position might face? What are some things that might not come up in the interview but are super important to know?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that the work environment for an Army captain can be incredibly demanding. You're often dealing with high-pressure situations, making decisions that impact the lives of your team, and navigating some pretty complex logistical and operational challenges.
Yeah, and it's not your typical 9 to 5. There's always the possibility of deployment to a conflict zone, which adds a whole other level of stress and uncertainty.
Absolutely. And while those experiences can be incredibly rewarding, They also require a unique blend of leadership, adaptability, and resilience. It's not for everyone, but for those who are drawn to this kind of challenge, it can be a truly fulfilling career.
So it's not just about saying you can handle pressure in an interview. You have to be mentally and emotionally prepared for what the role actually entails.
Exactly. And you know what's great? RoleCatcher's Career Guide includes insights from current and former Army captains. So you're getting real-world perspectives on the day-to-day challenges and rewards of the job.
That's invaluable. So how can someone prepare for the unique demands of this role beyond just practicing interview answers?
Hands-on experience is crucial. RoleCatcher emphasizes programs like ROTC, internships with military units, and of course, active duty service.
Those experiences give you a chance to push your limits, develop those leadership skills in real-world scenarios, and really see what it's like to be an Army captain.
Right, and they give you those authentic stories and examples that will make your interview answers stand out. It's one thing to say you're a leader, it's another to describe a time when you successfully motivated your team during a tough field exercise or made a tough decision that affected the outcome of a mission.
Those real-life experiences carry so much more weight than just saying, I'm a leader.
No.
Okay, let's go back to something we touched on earlier, academic pathways. How important is formal education for a career as an Army captain?
RoleCatcher's Career Guide stresses the importance of a solid academic background. While a degree in military science is a direct path, other degrees can be really valuable as well.
Okay, so what are some degree subjects that align well with the skills you need for an Army captain role?
Degrees in leadership, strategic studies, and international relations can be super beneficial, especially for aspiring captains.
Those make sense. Are there any others that might not seem as obvious but are still valuable?
Absolutely. Don't underestimate degrees in fields like logistics management or operations management. Logistics management, for instance, teaches you how to coordinate those complex systems and allocate resources effectively, which are essential skills for an Army captain who's responsible for managing personnel, equipment, and supplies.
So it's not just about military strategy, it's about having a well-rounded skill set that you can apply to different challenges.
Exactly. Even degrees in engineering or communications can be super valuable. Engineering develops problem solving and analytical skills, while communications focuses on conveying information clearly and persuasively, both of which are super important for effective leadership.
So it sounds like the ideal candidate has a mix of military knowledge, strategic thinking, and practical skills.
You got it. And that's where combining different areas of study can be really powerful. Someone with a background in both engineering and leadership, for instance, might be exceptionally well suited for managing complex technical projects within the Army.
It's all about finding what interests you, being passionate about it, and then figuring out how to connect those skills and knowledge to what's needed in the Army captain role.
Exactly. And remember, education doesn't stop after you graduate. Continuous learning is crucial throughout your military career. Whether it's professional development courses, advanced degrees, or certifications in specific areas, staying ahead of the curve shows that you're committed to growth and makes you a more competitive candidate for promotions and leadership opportunities.
So it's not just about acing that first interview, it's about building a foundation for a successful and fulfilling military career.
Precisely. And with resources like RoleCatcher, you have the tools and insights to navigate that journey confidently.
Speaking of navigating a journey, let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. What does a career path in this field actually look like? Where does it all begin?
Well, it often starts with an entry-level Army officer role. You might be assisting with the supervision of a small unit, learning the ropes, and starting to develop those fundamental tactical and strategic skills.
So it's like building that foundation for leadership, right?
Yeah.
What does that actually look like day to day?
You're supporting senior officers, getting involved in planning and executing operations, really mastering the basics of equipment maintenance and logistical support. It's all about understanding how things work from the ground up.
I see. RoleCatcher's Career Guide has an example profile of someone at this stage. It says, I've shown my commitment to service, gained valuable experience in supervising soldiers, and actively participated in planning operations. I'm driven, adaptable, and ready for new challenges.
That's a great way to put it. It really captures that eager to learn, ready to contribute mindset of someone starting out in a leadership role.
It sounds like a perfect springboard to more demanding leadership roles down the line. So what comes next on this career path?
The next step is often platoon leader. Now, you're not just assisting, you're leading and managing a platoon in tactical operations. developing and implementing plans, supervising training, and mentoring those under your command.
So this is where those leadership skills really get put to the test, right? You're responsible for your platoon's performance and their well-being. What kind of profile does RoleCatcher have for someone at this level?
Their example profile for platoon leader says, I've led my platoon in numerous missions, consistently achieving objectives and ensuring the safety of my soldiers. I'm a confident and adaptable leader, ready for new challenges.
So it really highlights that balance between tactical expertise and the responsibility of leading and mentoring a team. It sounds incredibly challenging, but also incredibly rewarding. What are the opportunities for advancement beyond this role?
Well, with experience and a proven track record of leadership, you could move up to company commander. At this level, you're commanding a company of soldiers in both combat and non-combat operations. You're developing those strategic plans, managing resources, mentoring junior officers, and making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds like a big jump in responsibility. What does RoleCatcher's profile say about this stage?
It focuses on the strategic side of things, saying, I've shown I can develop and execute strategic plans, consistently achieving mission success. I've mentored junior officers, helped them develop, and made sure the team is cohesive. I'm a dynamic and results-oriented leader.
So you're not just leading a team anymore, you're shaping the direction of the whole company. What's the next step up the leadership ladder?
From there, a potential next step could be battalion executive officer. You're basically the right-hand person to the battalion commander. You're overseeing operations, coordinating those subordinate units, developing strategic plans, managing resources, and providing guidance to officers.
Wow, that sounds like a role that requires incredible organizational skills and strategic vision.
Definitely. You're not just leading one unit anymore. You're coordinating multiple units to make sure everyone's working towards the same goal.
What does RoleCatcher say about someone at this stage?
Their profile emphasizes that ability to support and guide others. It says, I've proven my ability to support the battalion commander in managing a large unit. I've coordinated subordinate units, made sure they're ready and following procedures. I've mentored officers, helped them grow, and ensured we're all on the same page. I'm a confident and influential leader.
It seems like as you move up the ranks, the focus shifts from directly leading a small unit to overseeing those larger operations, coordinating multiple teams and ensuring everyone is aligned strategically.
Exactly. And remember, throughout this whole journey, you're constantly picking up new skills, learning more, and refining your leadership style. The career path for an Army captain, it's dynamic, challenging, and there's always room to grow.
It sounds demanding, but the rewards must be incredible. You're not just building a career, you're shaping the Army's future and making a real difference.
Absolutely. And with tools like RoleCatcher, you can approach that journey with confidence. You'll have the knowledge, skills, and insights to succeed at every level.
So whether you're just starting out or you're aiming for the top, remember this. The path to becoming a great leader, it's not about following a set course. It's about embracing challenges, learning from your experiences, and always pushing yourself to be better. Who knows, maybe one day you'll be leading a battalion, inspiring the next generation of Army captains, and sharing your own story of leadership and success.
Now that's a mission worth pursuing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Army captains. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep leading.